No. It's Chris Pratt, Alison Brie, Kevin Hart.
Alison Brie.
All right, second 6, WatchTower episode 26. Marker.
Read it.
And we.
Man.
7.
Doing the interpretive dance.
Yeah, dude.
All right, welcome back to
WatchTower.
No, don't do that.
Wow, what an amazing conversation we just had prior to recording.
What was the conversation about,
I'll
Delo?
repeat that in person, I'll tell you that much.
All right, ready?
All right, Delo, you're on.
Welcome back to the watch. Wait, this is main cam, right? Welcome back.
Main cam.
No, you
To
look
watch.
straight,
No.
man.
Now I got the 2
I
shot.
thought we were
Welcome
doing
back.
2 shots.
Yeah. I'm now the 2 shot.
Oh, you are the 2 shot. I
Welcome
got you.
back.
Yeah.
To the WatchTower podcast, the watching tower of the pod.
The watching tower of the pod.
And then the episode and the name of the movie.
Okay, it's been a while.
There
It's
we
been
go.
a while.
Give me a 5-second countdown. Legit
Yeah.
5-second countdown.
No, we're
please.
rolling. We're rolling.
5, 4, 3, 2.
And we're on.
Welcome back to the WatchTower podcast, the film review podcast that we've been doing since the beginning of the pandemic in our computers. It's been insane. We're in person, guys. We're in person. I don't know how long it's been. I'm kind of excited here.
It's the Three Stooges and Darth Vader all the way from the dark side
Darth
over there.
Vader?
Over there, man.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, we got Darth Vader apparently. Anyways, yeah, Three Stooges are back. We're gonna be talking film, special film today. Guys, you want to introduce yourselves? You know.
Hi, I'm John Eric Castro. I'm the actor's perspective, and I'm really gonna criticize this movie.
Oh, baby.
Yes.
It's a female lead, so that's gonna be interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I just.
What have you done with your life? I'm Michael Della
De La Oprah.
We're getting an interruption. More on this at 10. I'm Michael
with
Della
it.
Camera A.
Camera A.
Yeah.
You just labeled.
Yeah, it's my like. I mean, okay. I'll say this before we did this. I was the guy in the back. I was the man in the back.
No, yeah. When we were
He
doing
was
it
in the
here.
first or second episode. He was.
I was the guy in the back.
No, but you hosted.
This is my first time.
For WatchTower. We didn't. We've
being-
never done an
yeah, we've
in-person
never-
WatchTower.
we've
It's
never
in the
done-
same stratosphere.
Well, I am the cinematography perspective and comic relief.
Comic relief.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. We got also our a fellow producer in the back there, Mr. Austin Young.
Howdy.
Yeah,
What a firm howdy.
firm. I liked it.
Little weak.
I gave it a 9.5. I don't know how you guys felt.
Really? Oh, we're going. Okay.
I'm talking about the clap, by the way.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Anyways,
because we didn't introduce the new.
not yet.
Okay.
Let me introduce
It
myself.
gets a passing
first.
grade.
I think if I
It gets a
introduce
passing
myself
grade.
first, it might be fine. My name is Carlos Alatorre. I'm your fellow co-host, giving the writing, directing perspective.
More like
on
schmo host.
This film. Before I get into the film, though, I gotta ask you guys, how do we feel about being in person? This is the first time we're doing it for WatchTower ever. It's the first time we've done it since the beginning of the pandemic, really.
I feel like it helps out a little bit more because when you're in the computer, you
I
don't know
know.
when to jump in.
Ah.
I feel like this gives us a little bit more of a vibe. You know?
Yeah, there's no more like glitchy box that's
Exactly.
like I can't hear you, Castro. Fix your audio, Castro.
That was mine. I'm always sounding pretty good.
No,
Yeah,
that's like a
that's
general
right.
thing. I'm just using like a random name I came up
Right.
with. Yeah. Like what a fuck up, Castro.
I think it's pretty great. I think we have our kind of makeshift studio. We're back in studio.
First safe.
That we're recording the Towercast on, and we kind of just makeshifted it and made it bigger a little bit. And this is gonna be fun, man. We're gonna be doing it in person as much as possible.
We actually have 2 studios.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
this is
So this is the WatchTower right here.
This is studio side A.
Yeah, let's call
tape
it side
1.
A.
Yeah.
And then we got side B.
Yeah.
And-
Least creative names
Right.
we could come up with.
And we're
No, this
filmmakers,
is
right?
this is the movie appreciation.
There we
studio.
go.
Yeah, as you can see.
The backdrop that.
Yeah,
A reminder, by the way, a reminder to encourage people to get home media. I've been talking about this a lot, like in early episodes. I have a crate here, which I wasn't planning on showing, but we even got like actual celluloid. You know, we got like Super 8 films that are awesome because we have a Super 8 projector.
Oh, and that's actually pretty cool.
Godzilla
Those old
versus
school.
the Thing and the Three Stooges and Spider-Man. I have a bunch of here. I have the Great Train Robbery. in
We
here.
can have a whole conversation on
first.
just like physical media alone. I also think it's kind of a good thing that you bring up because we're back in person. There's something about just anything being physical that feels just so much more
And we're doing
natural.
something different on this podcast now. which is we're gonna be watching the movies together. Like we couldn't with this one for time's sake, but we're gonna start watching the movies all together before we record the episode. So I think that's gonna help like the in-person initial vibes.
Yeah, because if you guys haven't noticed, they've usually watched it together, and I've watched it on my own. So that's why I kind of seem off when we're giving the review.
Well, it's fine. A kind of reminder, I don't know when this episode's going to come out. I think it's going to come out still in July, but if you're a physical media person, Barnes & Noble's having a 50% off Criterion Blu-rays and DVDs.
Yeah, don't be that guy that just, loads up his, hard drive with movies. Get the physical stuff, man.
Yeah, get the physical stuff. So I bought like 5
Our producer
Criterion.
feels directly attacked by that statement.
This guy over here has 2
You
terabytes
did.
of movies and
bought
stuff.
Parasite on Criterion. I've
been called a parasite by Criterion.
I'll tell you guys which one I got. Just to kick off the show, I got the Jackie Chan Police Story 1 and 2 on Criterion. I've seen the first one, never seen the second one, so I'm excited to get that.
I've never seen Jackie Chan.
I got the 3 films with Ingrid Bergman.
Ingrid.
And Ingmar Bergman. They're 2 different names. I know it's confusing, but they were married at some point.
I love
and they
Bergman.
did films
It's
together.
such a good film.
I got I got a few other films. The Player with Tim Robbins. Have you guys ever heard of that? We need to do an episode on that. It's very Under the Silver Lakey.
Ooh, I just watched that.
But it's like from the 90s, dude, or 80s, so it's got a different vibe, but it literally opens up in a film studio, like a knockoff of Warner Brothers.
I'm already sold.
Tim Robbins in The Player is awesome. It's a very Hollywood film.
Was this poster or pre?
Post Shawshank. I
Shawshank.
think. Post Shawshank.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So.
Yeah, most films are completed in post
Because
production.
now he's a director. Tim Robbins.
What was that, Delo?
What?
Just say it. I mean, at least say the joke.
No, it's because you're like post or pre, and I'm like most films are completed
He
in post production.
understood what I meant.
There's a door.
Oh my god!
We got a door here now. No, all right. Anyways, yeah, Criterion. I bought some. Go buy some. I know
Not
Eric
a sponsor.
Sanchez probably listening. He bought some. Austin bought some. I love Criterion to death, man. So like, get some physical media because it's awesome.
Yeah, just feels better.
Yeah. So today we're
Jump.
talking about. This is Austin, our fellow producer's suggestion. He's been pushing this film onto me a lot. Like years ago, like 2 years ago, maybe more.
Which one is it?
We're talking about. Well, but before, I don't know. I'm setting.
No,
it up,
because I
man.
thought it was Kindergarten Cop for the longest time. That's why
Not
I'm still
kinder-
nervous that it's
not
not
Kindergarten Cop. We're
God.
talking about the Kindergarten Teacher. Netflix is the Kindergarten Teacher.
Yes.
Starring Maggie Gyllenhaal, and we got.
What? Oh, you got the.
That's a sister?
One of the 2 guys. The what is his name? Gael.
Oh no, García Bernal. He stars in it. His role's really good, really kind of
It's-
juicy.
Yeah.
We got the guy from Orange Is the New Black, the one that plays the brother.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. He plays.
Oh, was he the husband? In this?
He's
The
the
husband.
husband in this one, and I thought he did really well.
He looked familiar, but
That's
yeah, I didn't know he was.
Let me get his name. His name is Michael Chernus.
Michael
The film was co-written and directed by Sara Colangelo. She wrote the screenplay with a guy named Nadav Lapid. I hope I'm correct pronouncing that correctly. They haven't done a ton. Lots of indies. This definitely felt like an indie film.
Yes.
We're going to be introducing a new segment this episode on the WatchTower. I want to give a quick shout out to our brother Christian Yokomoto Medina.
Christian.
We miss you, man. He's got daddy duties. He's got a newborn, and he's going to be stepping away for a little while.
Bring the little baby. We can put
And
it
yeah,
right
we
here.
can put the baby right here, Yoko. It's all good.
Man, it's gonna get really weird when we start talking about babies. But
No,
anyway,
but Yoko, he's still awesomely helping us out with all the
Yes.
graphic art and stuff like that. But as a commentator of the show, and for the sake of, we didn't want to continue the segment of the Tower Crown until we get Yoko back. So we decided to kind of, for now, replace it with another segment until we get Yoko back.
Especially because we're here together and it can get kind of violent.
Yeah, I
and,
can-
and please remember, Yoko is not dead. He is. He's a parent now. Which,
He's a parent now.
If you ask mine, they would say it's one and the same. But
Right.
Just don't look in the Lao's trunk. So.
yeah,
Yeah, so we miss you, buddy.
Nice save.
We
nice
genuinely miss you. We can't wait till you come back to the show. But
We're
in the
here for you,
meantime,
Yoko.
we're introducing a new segment where just at the beginning of the film, we're all going to give our ratings.
can I say the name?
Before you say the name, I got to give credit to my wife, to Sandra, because this is how the system kind of came up. Like, every time we walk out of a movie, we tell each other, well, what do you give the rating? And it's usually like, oh, whatever, 8.7 or 8 or 8 out of 10 or whatever. So I suggested we do something like that for the show, and we're going to call it...
Welcome to the very first episode of I'm with Stupid.
Is that genuinely what we're gonna call it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want a better name? Rate it.
Rated. There you go. Towers.
Now
rated.
here.
We'll come up with a name. But anyways, we're gonna give our ratings before we start talking in detail about the film.
Thought of something. We could do something cool like staff picks or something like Blockbuster days where yeah.
Tower picks.
I'm not very creative on camera. Sorry. Anyway,
No, man, I like it.
Stop it.
we're calling it the Rated Show.
The rated show. Anyways, now we're gonna give our ratings. I'm gonna let Austin kick us off because it was his suggestion to do this film. Yeah. So what would you rate this film out of 10?
The Dark Side of the Moon.
You don't have a camera on you, so people don't know that you're just nodding at me.
That was so loud.
You look like you're in the front of the class.
The front of the class.
Trying to give us.
So what were the losers in the back of the class? Is that what it is?
That's all right.
So
What do you give it? What's your rating? What's your rating?
I like how we don't give him a chance to think. I'm sorry. You can speak now.
I don't need your permission to speak, though.
Ow. I'm pretty curious if it's under 9 because you're the one that picked it. So it gotta be above 9.
I don't know, maybe.
I mean,
9.4.
9.4. Wow.
It's in my top 10.
It's in your top 10 films, like of top 10 favorite films. Wow. Okay.
I have to ask. I have to get a little personal because it kind of like some type of experience happened like that with you, like
No.
as a teacher.
No.
Gosh, I hope. No.
Wow.
I just really enjoyed the story. And
All right.
Because
And
I
it's
kind
your
of
type
felt
of
it.
film too, like on the indie front. Like you like these indie, kind of earthy,
It felt
crunchy.
indie,
feeling.
but like really well executed.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
we
yeah,
can talk
absolutely,
about it more
absolutely.
right now.
Because I had a teacher like that in 2nd grade, Miss Chalk Snyder. Shout out. She was kind of like, I had ADHD, and she kind of like calmed me down, told me to write my thoughts down. So that I kind of relate. That's why I thought you picked it. Like,
Yeah, we're talking about the smart kids in the class.
I was smart up to
I'm
the 5th grade. Okay.
This was the 5th graders that fucked me
Once
up.
math
man.
was introduced, dude.
Maps.
Math.
All right. So since you're talking about it, what's your rating? What would you?
Oh,
give
we're gonna
it?
start off right
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
bat.
yeah.
I'm curious. I feel like
Oh,
It
dude.
was
Let's
such
talk
a-
about why right now. but
Okay.
just
Yeah, I
give
wanted
your
to talk
initial-
about it why, but
your initial rating, just initial rating.
since towards the end, I thought it was gonna go a different route. I'll probably give it an 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's still a B plus minus whatever you
Okay,
want to go with
okay.
it.
Below.
dang it.
It's a good
This
thing
one.
you know what a B plus is. I mean that.
Man, it took me
Wow.
2 years of grade school. So.
Honestly, I thought it scored really high. I mean,
Really?
I would probably be even put, like if I put it like the 8-point area, it'd be above 8.5, maybe like a 9.1 or so. I thought it was like
Wow,
really
an
high.
Okay.
Because I'm always impressed with these indie pictures, and we
Sure.
can talk more about it. But
That's a good one,
indie
yeah.
pictures that are able to take a few basic elements and then
Right.
run with it, and
Right.
do something really miraculous. Where I mean, I was watching this, and I was also like trying to get some things done and all that kind of
Sure.
stuff, so I could be ready for the podcast.
Sure.
But the more I watched it, the more I was just engaged and like grabbing onto every little bit of it. So yeah, I thought it scored really high. So yeah, 9.1 is where I'm gonna sit at.
Wow. Okay.
You're the low baller.
I'm
Yeah,
usually
you're the-
I'm usually the less forgiving one for stuff
If
like
it
this.
doesn't have Scorsese on it,
Oh
I'm
my
automatically
gosh.
1 point off.
Wow, no oneers.
No wonders. No, it's a shame. Now you know what? I did feel like the same thing. The beginning of the film really kind of sets up things, but my initial score, my score is going to be 7.8.
Interesting.
Yeah, I give it about a 7.8.
Easy.
I know. I think I told you this the first time you introduced it to me, way back when we screened it for me the first time. Let's get into thoughts. Let's get into these general thoughts.
Okay,
on why.
well,
we're already on here.
Well,
What
finish off your general
Yeah.
reason for like why you rated it
Okay.
that, and then let's go to like first viewings.
So I felt like everything was built up perfectly. I did catch a lot more arcs after rewatching it this morning. With the relationship with her kids, the stuff with Gael's character, and obviously the whole "you're not a real artist," which is something nobody wants to hear when you're in that position.
But you understand.
No, you get it. But I'll talk about why I think it's good right now, and I think why I connected with it. But I just felt like a lot of the stuff could have been on the nose. One of the things that really bugged me was the fact that the kid. I felt like to a certain degree, it could have been determined as pandering a little bit. Like it felt like maybe that wasn't the best choice for casting of the kid.
Really?
Yeah, and I felt like it could have just been an inclusion thing. And you know me, when it's inclusion for the sake of inclusion, I don't like it. When it's inclusion for the sake of the role, then I think it's important. But for instance, the dad character it really threw me the whole. The dad's, I'm like, yeah,
guy.
but he's not a business guy. He's a nightclub owner, right? He's a nightclub owner.
There's a lot to
he's
it.
Sketchy. He's not,
You didn't find that conversation that they had genuine? Like, I just want him to have a normal life. Usually people that have kids that have normal lives become good.
I felt like...
Okay, are we getting into, I guess, first impressions?
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
This is our new segment we call First Impressions.
We're gonna have a new segment for every single topic.
I love it.
Anyway, no, I just look. I think I think as an indie, I think it's terrific. I don't know the writer director as much. I think they executed it very well.
Yeah.
The cinematography looks very crisp, very set in New York. It has more good going for it than it has bad. Okay, absolutely. I just felt like some of this story could have been a little more original with certain things. A couple of the things felt formulaic.
What?
The fact that he has a bad background. Why does he need to have a bad background?
Who has a background?
The kid. Why does he need to have a shady, sketchy, bad background? It could have been any kid in the suburban neighborhood, and his parents just don't pay attention to the gifts he had. It could have been anything, but it just felt formulaic that he's from the hood, he's from the bad side of New York, and he's. Yeah. It felt formulaic in certain areas, and I felt they could have done a little better with that. However, a lot of the arcs and the character development I definitely loved, and I think that's something we should definitely talk about. But what were your guys' first impressions? You guys rated it pretty high, so.
I think this guy is really.
So, for first impressions, I mean, when you jump into the film, I think it's really intriguing the way they introduce the character. Sure. Because it's going for this not exciting lifestyle. It's something that's you would find a noble profession, like taking care of kids and all that kind of stuff, but just kind of, I don't know, there's something about the profession of, I guess, like a kindergarten teacher, and like how much energy they put into like other people like developing and growing, because they're at this very fragile age, and we consider them at that like age to be just like they can be sculpted in so many different directions. So to be that person who's at the cusp of that, it's maybe culturally I felt like the role was unique in and of itself. And then I saw her arc as being just really intriguing, wondering what she was going to do next, and maybe it was this semi-thriller aspect of her kind of, you could see that things were progressively going to get worse, and it was just, where's this train going to crash at? And maybe that's what made the film so engaging to begin with. But I can understand with you where you might have felt like, but I want to see how everything develops, like all these arcs. Like, why? Because you don't want to feel like you're introducing so many different characters and so many different plot points and it not having substance. But I felt like on initial watch, the pacing was great. I thought the acting was terrific. I thought like the cinematography really helped to establish the mood and maintain it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it again falls into a good category of being able to watch a film and being taken care of, I thought, because there's other films where you feel like they're being cheeky with their plot lines, or they're being, they're playing something that's been done before. They're not trying to be original. But I felt like this one took a concept that we've kind of seen before, which is almost a tortured, obsessive artist. Right. But then putting it into the mold of like, now she has, in a way, full control of that thing that she thinks is going to kind of give her.
I got to tell you, that was my favorite thing about it. Yeah. Is it wasn't even that she's a tormented artist. For me, it was more that she fell into the way of life that every artist is scared of. Yeah. At least I'm scared of. Like, you're just, I got to be a kindergarten teacher now because I didn't succeed. And then the fact that she's comparing her art to the kids and like kind of testing Gael's character about, hey, let me read you one of my poems, and she reads the butterfly one.
That's
and he's
so
like,
heavy.
What's okay?
And you know what? That's why I brought up the idea of him being at a fragile age. Sure. And then it flipping around, and you see that where she's at in her life. This, I'm doing my career. My kids are already leaving the home. I'm in marriage. Like, I don't know how you would feel about the whole marriage plot line, because I don't really understand that they were trying to say that he wasn't being supportive or their relationship was rocky.
But I think that's the point, right? It's good, and it's normal. She has nothing to complain about. Because if you're an artist and you're in a shitty relationship, then that fuels your art, right? Or if you're in a bad, in the setup, that fuels your art.
Everything was everything's
okay. Bland, you're kind of like, So I understand that. I
Yeah.
think I understand why the husband role
But,
is there,
it's
is what it is.
it's really unique, you know, just to
But wait,
kind of see her.
Before we go further,
Yeah.
initial thoughts, Castro. What's your rating and why?
Oh, dude, I have a different mentality of while I was watching
That's
this film.
why we. Have
I thought
you
this
here,
was like a
because you
heavy
do.
actor's piece. No.
No, yeah, obviously the acting was beautiful. Gael,
García, no?
García Bernal,
He's terrific. In acting.
yeah, as a teacher that kind of being soft and trying to, he was pretty cool.
I made a joke to Sandra. We were watching it together this morning. I made a joke like at the screen, like he was talking about poetry and how we could do. And I said, "Well, you know what, man? You fucked your best friend's mom, so you got a lot artistic to talk about."
That's pretty good.
It's a reference to Mama también. So we need to.
You gotta watch it, man.
Yeah, we
That's
gotta. We'll do it for the podcast at some point. Anyways,
No, me, when I
Now
was
in
watching it,
person.
obviously it got me intrigued. But me, I thought it was going to I can't just see it like linear.
sure.
Do you
For a
wanna?
second, I thought she was writing the poems
For the kid.
for the kid, just because she was.
Oh, so you tried to. Okay.
Yeah,
Did you
I
try to get ahead of
wanted
the
to
curve?
go.
You tried to the La Torre is what happened. You tried to look
You
into
tried to be
it.
ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I work, dude.
Yeah,
and
me
it
too.
never works
But-
out for me.
But okay, I think that's interesting.
That is, yeah.
But
Actually.
And then
what happened that kind of gave you clues or hints towards that? Because I feel like
No, it was once she finally gets him to the New York art scene.
yeah, but I feel like well before then you're already starting to see it. Like she's so desperate to hear him speak.
By the way, I
exactly.
thought that was one of the big.
Like-
was one of the big weaknesses.
Because get oh no way. Sitting with stupid. Boom.
God damn it, Castro.
What?
Don't talk while you do
Oh.
things. I think that was one of the weaker points of the film. Was why?
Her being so obsessed with the kid.
No. No, because that's the point. Jeez, okay, I got it, Cameron. No, I think that's the point. I think her obsession with the kid is not the obsession with the kid; it's the obsession with the gift that he has that she doesn't have.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
what bugs me about it is if she's trying the whole goal. I would have much rather she keep trying to hide the kid, and then it blows up in her face where the teacher discovers that the kid has this gift. I
you're-
would have much rather that plot line. I hate using the word plot line, but I would have much rather use that than what's her goal with. It just felt manipulative, man. It felt like
Well, that's the beauty of the ending.
it was either I'm gonna nurture this kid to be like Mozart, like she was saying,
Right.
because it's about his gift and nobody's paying attention to it, or it's about I'm so jealous of this fucking kid that I'm gonna take the credit.
Do you feel-
It's kind of dead in the middle.
Do you
Nah,
feel
nah,
like
nah.
we're missing a perspective because also I think like it's as a mother and as a teacher and like I mean like both my parents are teachers and that's where I
Right.
felt like I was getting a little bit of this.
Sure.
You raise your children and you help nurture the kids in your classroom so that way they can be better. And in a lot of ways as like a parent, it's that whole idea of them exceeding where you haven't, and sometimes it's putting too much of your goals into them.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is, because I
Yeah.
felt like, I mean, look, I can tell you right now, you guys know this, I've had teachers, particularly professors in college, that have helped me out. Like,
Yeah.
they have introduced me to people that they know that, because they know I take this seriously, right? So that's one thing. That's one nurturing, but for somebody to put their dreams on yours, I think that's different, and especially because
You
the
think
kid-
that was happening?
Yes,
The
absolutely.
kid was just reciting poems by his own. She was writing them down, and she wanted people to.
But that's where we give her the benefit of the doubt in the beginning. After
So
that,
you're
she
with,
was,
so you're with the
because
teacher that.
I'm-
Oh, yeah, I feel betrayed that you were taking this guy's credit for this guy's.
no, not necessarily, because I feel for her as an artist. I connect. Like, I'm not saying I'm out stealing plots from filmmakers, but or from filmmaking kids, which would be interesting. But I felt her, like I felt her deception of, like, especially when he says the words, "You're not a real artist." That's heavy. That's
Yeah.
super heavy.
Who said that?
Gael.
Yeah.
Why though?
Because-
if he should understand why she's doing
No,
it. It's not
because
like
what happens is that also this is just coming off of like right after they had this kind of like sexual encounter.
Oh, okay,
and then,
okay.
And he, it's also really weird
And then
because
he
basically-
loves that shit.
Yeah.
So I get it.
He was in love with the fact that he was like, wow, a real artist.
Right.
And there was
Exactly.
and I think what's kind of neat about that is that it establishes this almost like lust
Yeah,
for
but
having art.
at best, the saying goes, and for those of you that are professors and teachers, I don't mean this as a knock. Some people say those who can't do teach, right? So at best, I kind of feel like she would. You know how like people who can sing really well, why do they need a vocal coach? Because vocal coaches know how to, modulate your voice and exercises, and this is what you can do. You need that, right? Even fucking whoever the best singer in the world is right now needs a vocal coach, right? I felt like she could have been a poem coach for the kid, but I think she knew that her poems weren't going to be nearly as good as his, or maybe nearly as good as anybody else's. So
do you feel like with
mediocre,
her poetry teacher was going through a similar experience?
Yes, I think it was.
That's what it was trying
that's
to
my
parallel.
Point. Like it's.
Or that's when he felt hurt
that's
because
why he was so like.
Yeah.
Because when you're a professor, like let's say this, if I ever become a film professor, professors are kind of snobby because they know what they're fucking talking about. They may not. Some people may look at them as failures because they didn't become a filmmaker, right? But you see these guys, I'm like, oh man, they really know what they're talking about. Like you respect your professor, right? And I think she respected him because he really did. You could tell he genuinely knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He did. He loved poetry. He knew what to talk. But I never in the film saw him recite a poem of his own, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could have been that jealousy, that excitement, the initial excitement of we have a real artist.
you know what's unique is that when she talks she talks about like the kid, like how like look how gifted and talented he is, his only response was, I think you should leave the class.
Yeah.
And there's this pain of like, instead of them both being like, we have something here.
Exactly.
Nobody gets this, but we have
he
something here. He was just like, no, you're.
You agree with that?
No, but not with that. Not with that. But the fact that I love the monologue when she talks to the dad. I love the monologue on her side where she says Mozart was nourished by kings and queens and massaged, and they fed him candy. I love that monologue because it's times are changing, dude. You're a teacher. It's unethical. It's unmoral. That's the big argument here. That's why Gael's character was like, I don't know how to touch this because I get where you're coming from. I can see the art side, but it's a kid. Like,
no, and then also it's.
I get it. It's just
the moral standpoint of like, and he doesn't even know that he knows that she's a kindergarten teacher. So why do you have a kindergarten kid here and he's,
Oh, you think he went that far?
Yeah, I think he went that far.
It's really weird because I could understand that idea. I could understand that there was something wrong with this, but I almost felt similar in his kind of like perplexion when, like, we have so many films and stories nowadays about small kids or kids doing something brilliant, and then everybody being like, "Oh my god, that legend!" and all that. And then this one was like, "This is kind of icky." Like, why'd you?
But that's we talked about that. I kind of like the line that they jump rope with on this. Like,
which one?
That it's not sexual. We never see anything sexual with.
But we see a lot of like sexual.
The end. It was playing with my mind. It's like, is he gonna open the door? Never did I think he was gonna call.
Right.
No,
but
for a second I was thinking like,
there's a saying in Spanish, right? Maybe it's in English too, but
you would wonder like he would want to open the door. But I thought that was.
There's a Spanish saying, "No hagas cosas buenas que parezcan malas." Right, I think that's what and it basically translates like, don't do good things that don't do good things that look bad. And what I'm kind of connecting the dots with that is that, for instance, the initial moment where they're all having nap time and she's so desperate to get a poem out of this kid and she's like, "Hey, let's go," and they go in the bathroom.
And then the other teacher notices, but
right?
It's
her assistant, and that's where I thought that the film was gonna go, and I was really interested to see that where it was like she's getting too obsessed with this kid, and it's gonna look like, hey, why are you giving all this extra attention and all that? Yeah, no, definitely, right? Because like, they'd have little moments where even if you didn't see the assistant, it was like, oh, is he okay? It's like, oh yeah, he's fine, and then takes him out of the
room. To like the auditorium, so it's like
the auditorium, but the first shot, they're in the bathroom by themselves.
Exactly, that's where I was like, my head was.
She's not doing anything wrong. She's not. Yeah. But on the surface, it is wrong.
Yeah.
If somebody sees you walking out the restroom with a kid that's not yours, it's wrong.
No, and then you're constantly pulling out this one child to be with you alone in different places.
And then turning off their phone. Like, no, you know what? No, just put.
No, that whole.
I've worked for the education system, so I know exactly. Like, especially like, I mean, New York may be a different thing, right? But when you're a teacher, it's like an under the table thing that she had with the dad, right? Like, oh, I'll take him home a couple hours after school. Don't worry. Like, You don't do that. Like, you really don't do that.
Yeah,
so
it's
again, it's basically playing jump rope with this moral line of, is it sexual, is it not sexual?
Perfectly
It
put.
feels kind of sexual, but
I know, just to kind of like emphasize how much it's weird in our moral code and how much of a line that is. I know I had a tutoring thing when I was like going to school and all that kind of stuff, and there was one time nobody else in the tutoring group could make it, so it was just going to be me and like the teacher alone for like an
female, male,
Turkish.
Okay, perfect answer.
He's like he was a great professor, and I mean, like, you know, super motivational towards me. But I know that as much trust and everything that was there, it was still that line of like, if this is uncomfortable and maybe we shouldn't cross it and all that. Yeah, like everybody was talking about it because it's this whole idea where like, we could know that, you know, super trustworthy guy, super nice guy, but it's still, he's my teacher, I'm the student.
Yeah, that part doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. I think that's what bugged me about this film. That's what bugs me about this film, and that's what makes this film good. Is cinema's supposed to be provocative. 7.8 good. Cinema's supposed to be provocative. It's supposed to invoke, like, do I feel... That's why I can't answer your question cementedly. Like, I don't know if it's good or, like, I don't know if I agree or disagree with either party, because on her part as an artist, I understand her frustration. I understand the not letting go of the dreams and her living in this suburban nightmare that every artist doesn't want to fall into. I get it, the boring life that you weren't supposed to have, and you're supposed to be a bohemian artist, and then especially set in New York. You're set in the center of art and culture in the States, right? So I get her. I get where she's coming from as an artist. And I get, like, seeing, like, imagine if I discover a filmmaker and, oh man, this guy's great, and he's...
Or like a small, 18 a kid writing scripts.
Yeah, a 16-year-old writing scripts, and then I start bringing him to set, and then we're on set at 2 a.m. Well, at that point, that's unethical, right?
Yeah.
So, like...
No, you're being, exploitative.
Sure, but me, it's like, no, you don't get it. He's 16 and he writes scripts. I get that. Yeah. I get her side, but at the same time... Dude, like, as shitty as the dad is, as piece of a shit as he is and not being a good father, like, yo, like, why aren't you paying it? I mean...
No, he wasn't, you know...
You're right, he wasn't a complete, like...
But he's not, like,
they didn't make him all that bad, because, I mean, if you look at it, he obviously still had care and attraction towards his wife. Like, he was concerned when he could see that there was, like, conflict going on with, like, the kids.
Yeah, not just that, but he's explicitly, he's like... I want him to have a better future. I want him to be logical. I want him to make money. And, like, the baseball thing, too. Like, he has him in baseball. He's involved.
I was talking about the wife's husband, damn.
No, I'm talking about the dad. The kid's dad.
Yeah, the kid, okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They didn't make him out to be a complete douchebag.
Yeah, no.
But at the same time, like, he wasn't involved in his kid's life. So... I get that too. I get that unethically and morally, like, it's wrong. And let's add let's add her husband and her kids into the equation.
You're not gonna have, I think, a substantial reason why this kid's such a savant if everything already is positive and all that. Like, if you had seen a father figure who was like consistent, picking up early and all that, then it would have been a different conversation. Like, your kid has a real talent, and then him being like, really, you feel like that's where he can go? And it's like, I think we can start looking into...
I would have been more I would have been more impressed if they would have done something like that, where it's
and still been able to have that heavy hit.
Look, when I talk to you guys about this all the time. The whole point of, like, Hamilton is that, like, Hamilton is a kid who both of his parents died. He was an orphan, and then he made it to the States and became a founding father of the United States. So, like, I get that. I get the struggle. I get the coming back from that background. I get it, because I kind of lived it too. So I get it. Don't get me wrong. But I would have been more impressed if he was just a regular kid with a regular upbringing. He had his mom. He had his dad. And he was a genius, period. You know? And this is coming from a guy who loves Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting is the whole, he's an orphan. He's a genius. It's the same thing. But I would have been a little more impressed. That's what I'm saying. Like, the unoriginality... I would have been a little more impressed if
it wouldn't be as
they didn't depend on that so heavily. If they didn't depend on that so heavily.
I get that, but I don't know. The elements seem to work out for me, because if you make it, you could have, like, overdone it, right? Sure. The father, it could have been like
the father beats him.
Yeah, the father beats him, and nobody cares about him, and then the story would have changed, because then it would have been like, well, now I need to save this kid.
Now I get that she's taking.
Yeah. But then by making him, like, there's enough gray room where it's like, I need to hire an nanny.
Let me preface this by saying it's all justified. I mean, every choice that they made is justified. I
understand where you're coming from. I just felt like they were. I mean, it's a funky line because if you like I said,
how you and I are always talking about, it's on the borderline of this could have been an Oscar film.
You really don't feel like it can.
I don't. In its current state, I don't think
this one could have been an Oscar?
It wasn't. It's proven, right? It wasn't an Oscar film.
It wasn't.
It wasn't nominated for anything.
It was on the verge, but no.
And that's what I'm saying. It could have been an Oscar film.
Okay, I will say this. Like, there was a lot going for it. I think
there is.
Okay, we talked about Split, right? And we talked about how Split, like, if we're talking about...
What's the element you changed? Because you can't tell me it's the story.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, we're talking about, like, a spectrum, right? If this is the Oscar line, if this is Oscar territory, right? And this is non-Oscar territory.
Yeah, the Split.
Split was about right here. Split was like, if you could have changed a couple things...
What Split?
Split, you're Split.
Hey, man.
No, but that's a good thing,
man.
dude. No, hey, we've talked about other films that are terrible, that aren't Split, so...
But why is it so low?
Because it's an Oscar spectrum.
Get out of here.
This one was probably right here.
That's why I rated it pretty high.
It could have been here, but it's not Oscar worthy. It's not on this
right here,
tier.
by like we're split at that. Yeah, for sure.
It's not an Oscar tier.
No,
film.
I
so
know.
You're asking me what element I would have changed.
Honestly, I thought there was a lot of parts that felt indie, and
Sure.
I'll say I think part of it came from like they didn't do anything very innovative or special with like the camera work and all that kind of stuff. They set a tone and they were able to maintain it color wise and all that, but it's not like they did any type of like crazy shots or they were trying to do anything largely metaphorical. There was a scene where she's talking to what I think they want the audience to think is the dad at first in an office space. And then it turns out to be the brother.
Yeah, the brother.
Yeah, the artist brother. Right?
Yeah. So talking and all that, and what you see is that they kind of cut the screen in half with the windows, and they're on like one half of it, and it's cool, but it doesn't feel like a whole lot. Like it feels like it should be metaphorical, but I think there's not a whole, like you'd have to really reach if you want to dive into it and find some kind of internal struggle, and I don't think the camera work.
No, I agree. It's because here's the thing: if I pitch to you what element I could have changed, it's gonna sound unoriginal because like it's like we all say, right? Everything's already been done, right? You just have to find variants of it. But it's tough. It's tough to know what to change because if you change something, it changes the entire film and it changes her intention. So I think here's what I think would have made the film better for me. I think if I would have had a little more grittiness from her, like if I would have really genuinely seen like a spiral from her, then at that point it's a character development piece that I can appreciate a little more.
But there was no spiral, right?
There wasn't, but that's what I mean. Like,
I just think it was like
think about
she's
scene,
sociopathic, and that's what.
Towards the end,
but think about the scene where she
beginning.
gets home from the whole ordeal with. I thought it was gonna go into a spiral when she slept with the professor, right? When she slept with it was implied. I don't know if she slept with him.
No,
or not.
she.
Oh yeah, they got it.
She took off
took off her shirt, but
no, she took off her like undergarments.
Oh, okay. No? I don't know. We just saw the top half of her body.
You didn't watch my film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, after that, she goes back on the ferry. She's got her glasses on. She's kind of like, I don't give a fuck anymore, right? Like, I already slept with this dude. I cheated on my husband. And then she gets to see her kids smoking weed or whatever they're doing. And she's
not
like,
respecting her, man.
Not respecting her. You know, she's like, you know what, whatever. She's just being provocative. I'm going to take a walk. But her daughter said a key line, like, you and dad, which I thought was a really cool arc if they would have explored that. You and dad claim to be these progressive artist types, and you're getting mad at me for smoking weed. And it's like, well, what about them? Like, okay, they're suburban dad, they're suburban parents now, but were they living in Greenwich Village? Were they, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
were they actual artist bohemian types that came
That was
up
like a really
like,
powerful phrase because it then established a new kind of meaning for the dad. Like he didn't see that.
He didn't
like after
seem
that,
like that
he didn't
artist
come
type.
across as like a. Like at first it's just like, oh, he's just like a suburban dad, and you know they have like a nice suburban family, and then.
But when they talk about poetry, you do get like he does know a little bit.
And
about
you know
what? He's talking about.
I was wondering if they were going to take the arc with the husband to be like, oh, she can really find like no solace at home and no kind of like connection. But even then, he kind of gave a little bit of that.
No,
which,
he definitely did.
Yeah, so it's weird. It's kind of like...
And he's trying to re-spark the intimacy in their marriage, right? When he's trying to sleep with her and then she's over here answering the phone.
There's too much that... is positive that then...
That's what I'm saying.
And I feel like it's through those moments that then we're able to see, okay, she has a real problem.
So it's not that, yeah.
She has a real problem internally, because...
So, would you categorize this film then? Because I'm categorizing it like an artist at their last hope, right?
Oh, yeah.
But would you categorize this film as a mental health film?
No, not at all.
No?
No.
Like the Joker. Like, it's
No.
how people categorize Joker as mental health thing, right? So...
Yeah, no, this one was not in that. What
like,
I think
would a psychology class analyze this film to analyze a sociopath?
I mean, if I could understand the definitions better for like a sociopath, then maybe, because I feel like there was a lot of moments from very early on where it just seemed that it was like, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to think about the repercussions and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like, even that first moment when she pulls the kid aside, like, from nap time, like, that should have been, what am I doing, kind of moment. And
I didn't get it that
really,
that, like, early.
It just feels weird like, when, especially pulling him out alone and all that kind of stuff, and then it emphasizes it.
In second grade, I mean...
You were writing poems in second grade?
No, but just...
You were shooting the J, bro, and people were just like analyzing that. That's it.
No. To me, when that caught me off guard is when she tells you lift that little bar up so you can open the gate. That's when it finally hit me. Like,
really,
I
don't know. I was from
was
very
trying
early
to be the nice
like
teacher of being.
Like I said,
slam poet night.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's
I think when she was.
It's the fact that he's in kindergarten, and it's meant to be that very vulnerable age, and that's what she's recognizing, all that, and that's what I'm interpreting it as. I also have like parents and aunts that are teaching like small children and all that.
I would have liked to see more of the kid behaving in a normal setting. I think that would have benefited me to see additional scenes. For instance, the one scene we get is when he cusses, right? When he calls the hoe or the whore thing from ground.
Oh yeah, the playground.
So when he's playing with the kids, that's the only moment we see the kid, quote unquote, behaving normally.
But you don't have to
like
see. You just see it from like her guardian that picks her up. Like she doesn't not really interested. Oh yeah.
No. I get that, but if I would have seen the kid react in those moments, kind of like Good Will Hunting, right? Like when Damon's character is just a kid from the block and just bullshitting, but when he's by himself and he's writing, like it's almost supernatural, right? Like if I would have seen the kid like change directions from I'm a normal kid playing football to oh, I got a poem. Then that would have once. Well, that's my point. It only happens that playground moment. Like if I would have seen him.
What about when they're in the lake?
There's inconsistency to me. Like there's inconsistency to me of like.
Here's what I don't get. There, like on paper and on first viewing.
Yeah. I
feel like the film's really solid. So what? I'm still having trouble feeling like what are we missing? Because there's things that can be.
So you feel like it's complete for you? You'd say.
I mean,
because this is my second or third viewing.
Like so I'm saying, on first viewing,
yeah,
I thought it was captivating, and I thought it definitely like knew how to play within those kind of like dangerous boundaries enough for everybody to kind of recognize there's something up here. So I think it did really well at that.
But it had that going.
When you analyze each element, like I said, if I think back to a lot of the camera work, because the whole time I was thinking like this looks really interestingly shot, and I was trying to think. Maybe they went for this motif. Maybe they went for that motif. Just like things like I was thinking like maybe they're trying to use locked off shots so that way it can kind of paint this very bland basic image. But then I started doing tracking shots and I'm like, okay, well that all went to hell. And then I thought, well the color profile, like, maybe it's trying to show this kind of dullness in her life. Yeah. But then there would be minor moments of it being brighter and it's just because of location, not because of like
but it wasn't. That's my point. Like that's why I'm.
It had little misses here.
That's why I'm complaining a little bit. And again, maybe she's a first-time director. Props to her because
for an indie route, yeah.
But this is a critic show. This is a film review critic. We're criticizing this film. As a director, I felt like I may have directed some of the performances to give me a little more inclination on certain things. I would have directed the camera work to have more intention. I would have done certain things that would have sold it a little more for me.
On an acting front,
enough, his little monologue or her monologue, you get enough with that. The mom, when you pick her up and she's mad because, why did you turn off your phone?
Like, let me give you an example.
I'll give you that with the mom. She should have, we should have.
Was that the mom?
No. Yeah, that's because the dad said, oh yeah, when you get home, I'll send one of the girls to the house. It was one of his employees. So... Let me put it to you this way: the one that's his caretaker or whatever, the babysitter. She's by the way, she's from Alita. I don't know if you guys noticed that. She's the lead in Alita. Rodriguez is Alita. Why didn't, as an artist, right? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Why didn't the teacher? Why didn't she have more empathy towards? Oh, she's got to go off to an audition. Oh, she's an hour late because she has to go off to an audition.
Because that's not the point.
No, but if she's an artist and she's trying to,
because she's already a teenager or past teenager. This is something that you could sculpt. A teenager, you can't sculpt. Sculpture.
Wait a minute. What? Are you talking about the caretaker at the beginning?
Yeah, the girl. So that's what I'm saying. Like she goes and she snitches to that. No, but she goes and she snitches to the dad, and she says, "Well, she's always late. She was an hour late because she has auditions." Well, yo, if she's in the arts with you and you care so much about the artist,
I don't agree with you with that. No, because a teenager's gonna do whatever you want. With a kid, you can at least guide it.
No, I think
she was trying to tell him, "Hey, next time write it down when you hear it, please."
It was a matter of showing that she's selfish. Like that.
I believe. Like she's just being selfish because she wants. She's gonna do anything.
Every opportunity is just for individual gain. Yeah.
This kid it's on his own already.
It just felt like, I kind of felt like the daughter. Like, are you suburban teacher mom, or are you trying to be an artist again? Like, which one is it?
Like,
no, and then
it's like a crisis.
It solidifies itself at the end, because then at the end it solidifies what they were going for, which is that you'll be washed out like me if you let society take you and you're not taken care of.
But okay, tell me something. This is gonna be the easiest place to take this to, and criticize me. I don't care. Do you remember anything from kindergarten?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember a key moment?
That's true. Okay, what's your point to this?
No. Not what's the point, but okay, he's a smart kid and he obviously can absorb a lot, but he's not a genius. He's just a prodigy. There's a difference. So
she's trying to make this guy into a genius.
No, but that's the point. Geniuses are born geniuses.
Well, exactly, yeah, but if you don't mentor them, they could just become.
But that's my point. Like, if he's not gonna remember this 10 years from now.
No, that's where it was exploitative.
That's why they still go to school.
I'm trying. What are you trying to get to? Because to me, I just felt like the whole thing with him is that it was kind of like a golden goose situation where it's not a matter of like him actually growing or anything.
That's my frustration. My frustration is that if it's her golden goose, if it's her discovery, are you doing it for the sake of bettering the kid's career in poetry, or are you doing it selfishly? To make yourself relevant again and again.
I think she was doing it selfishly in the way that I'm already old. This kid's got something. That's selfish type.
So you guys think that?
Not because like, you know what?
When somebody has nothing, that's why.
I think that's what you're getting at, because she was saying it to Gael.
Right.
I think that's where you're getting it from, because she was saying the poems to him thinking that, but no, it was her just, this child can't say it, he's too little, I'm just trying to see.
But she was trying to play them off as her own.
No.
Yes, she was.
How? She brought him to the thing.
No, but
because when they were in the poetry class, when they were at the poetry class, it wasn't like.
Yeah, she got a little bit of a shine, but that's her just saying.
No. She took credit.
She could have said.
Because everybody's saying, I heard
a kid in my class read this out.
I just think it's a momentum thing. It's like,
yes, no, and then that's why.
Just like, hold on. I got something for you guys.
Okay. So here's the thing about it. Like, I just felt like I wanted her to decide which one she was going. That's why I bring up the spiral thing. Because if I would have,
are you gonna spiral as a teacher, or are you gonna spiral as an artist?
When somebody doesn't give a shit, like, they'll do anything, right? But it felt like, does she know she was going to get caught? Does she know that she was going to get in trouble?
That's the beauty of it.
Or was she just trying to get as far as she possibly could?
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing.
Because that's when you know, on the character development front, when you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck. You're going to, I don't care, I know I'm going to get caught, so I'm going to.
That's where I'm leaning
But
towards.
if she's like, oh no, I'm going to see how much I can get away with.
I can see where you're at. I can see where you're at there. I can see where you're at.
That's what, in a whole, that's what's bothering me about.
You think she was thinking she was going to get away with it? Or it was just kind of like.
No,
I can get.
Yeah, and hopefully this kid understands what I did for him.
It's weird because like at the very
I got pissed off.
If she wouldn't have gotten caught, how far would she have gone? He leaves her kindergarten class.
Yeah,
is she gonna keep pursuing him through high school?
I mean, gotten called or what?
She wouldn't get far.
If she wouldn't have gotten caught, if she wouldn't have gotten in trouble.
No, man. Obviously, any sensible thing would be like she's gonna get caught eventually.
Okay.
No,
it was just kind of.
maybe what threw me off is definitely like after that moment where he's like, "You're not an artist" and all that, and then she continued pursuing him, like because at that point
It's
she
more
was
important than
she
her.
was insulted at like saying, "Oh, you're an art appreciator, like that's all you
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
you're not an
yeah.
artist," and she could have been like. It would have destroyed her, tore her down.
Right.
But then instead, I think she like started believing the lie. No, he's gonna grow because of me.
Right,
Because
Exactly.
but that's what's
Exactly.
frustrating. Like usually, that's the spiral, right? Usually, that's the
I
you're
think
not
she
an artist.
flipped, and I think intention
No,
flipped because at the beginning, I will say that I think she did that because she liked being respected as an artist again.
Yes,
and I'm saying again
yes,
because
yes,
I think
that's what it was. That's
I think
exactly
it was,
what it was.
No, I think it was 50-50. I think it was like, man,
There's no
you know what? I'm getting a little bit of appreciation,
Right.
But at least because it's from some kid.
Nah.
Plus,
man.
think about what we said about Gael's character, right? The professor knows what he's fucking talking about, can identify artists in the room, right? And then she fucks him, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm living that artist lifestyle.
Oh,
again.
that's what
It's-
you got me. I remember her smirk, kind of like, that's true.
So
That's true.
she's getting the attention she wants as an artist, the respect, my art is there,
Yeah.
and my
and
my
that
biggest
scene-
peer, my currently biggest peer is recognizing that, and it feels great, and it's
That's
one
a
of
good way
those
to put it.
things.
See, I didn't see it that way. That's true. 'Cause
So-
I remember when she was sitting there, she had the little smirk, and then they finally it's like
Again, look,
this guy that I want.
kudos to the filmmaker because your film is doing this. That's the point. The point is for us to argue about where are we at with it and what did it make us feel, and that's where it's at. That's where it's at. I think it's a terrific picture. I think it's a terrific indie picture. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was in that weird spot, Austin, where Netflix was acquiring indies, but they were also making their own.
Is this the same year as Roma?
18,
I think it's right before. It's 17 or 18.
17 or 18. Damn it, I don't know.
Let me see. Really quick. Let me see. It is...
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors.
2018. No,
Anchor.
Roma was 2017, no? No, it was the same year as Roma, wasn't it?
You're welcome. My encyclopedic knowledge of 2018.
2018. Yeah, that's the exact same year.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with it?
Oh no, I just mean like that's why it didn't get boosted to Oscar level.
I want to.
Ooh, because it was a good Oscar year. Because it was a pretty good Oscar year. That's
Me,
a good point.
my favorite things about
just
about
thought-
watching films is the ending, explaining the ending, or what you guys thought about the ending.
Okay, that's Austin's favorite part.
Wait,
Do you want to talk
yes,
a little bit about that,
that's
Austin?
my favorite
Like,
part.
It's literally, every time you mention this film, you say exactly this.
That like the last line just broke me.
The kid,
Yeah.
I got mad. I got mad.
Why
Because
did it, wait. Why
Okay,
did it
yeah,
break
yeah,
you?
go for it.
Why
Well,
did
because
it?
that's like the kid's escape. The entire film is has got a poem, and now that
The
it's
girl
in
that
this
she-
tough spot is in the back of the cop car, and it's I have a poem.
Por tu culpa, güey. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like, I got mad immediately. Like,
Ah,
dude, 'cause
I see
I know
what you're
you,
saying.
I know you had to, right? It was, I didn't see
But
that.
he's not
I,
aware.
By the way-
But he's not aware.
I didn't see that coming. That he called the cops. That's wow. That's smart enough for
Smart.
the kid to do that.
I don't know if you guys felt anything
But then
towards
when he-
the ice cream line. Like, did anybody care about that at all?
What part?
Because she was talking earlier in the film saying how everybody's treating him like a dumb kid and that
Yeah.
he's just another one of these like kids and all that. And then when she was getting caught and all that and like basically she was screwed,
Yeah.
she says, "Hey, I'll take you out to the lake. We'll
Shut
go
up, right,
get
I'm trying to-
yeah, like I'll take you to the
Yeah.
lake. We'll go get ice cream. It'll
It's
be
like
fun."
The
and
five stages
then
of grief, right? Like
and
bargaining.
Well,
like,
here's the thing.
No,
Here's the
no,
thing.
it's just
No, wait. Like she said that, and then later on when the cops like taking him to the car, it's okay. We're gonna get ice cream. Everybody treats him like a dumb kid, and that's what was happening. That
that's
basically,
good.
as
That's
much
good.
as like she's talking about being
Yeah.
like this like
Sophisticated.
good person and nurturing him, no, she just looks at him like a dumb kid. Where it's like, don't worry, if you let me out,
Oh, I
I'll
see
get
what
you
you're
ice
saying.
cream.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
that's where it kind of like finishes off that idea.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good catch.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
and
That's
if you
good.
and it's they're so close together where it's like, oh, I'll get you ice cream, and
But
then
the
that's
more important line
yeah.
is
They
have a
said it
poem.
within like 5 minutes of each other,
Yeah.
so that's where you see
No,
like,
that's a good
oh
point.
shoot.
That's a good
Because she was
point.
desperate, I guess.
No,
but yeah, I get it.
in defense of the kid, he's unaware. He's unaware of. Yeah, he calls the cops.
He's
whatever.
aware just enough.
But it's like
Just
I feel
enough.
like on the prodigy sense, the fact that he has a poem, it's more important than the cop thing. And she instigated that. Like she lit the fire that his poems are important. So
but
the
now
minute
nobody's around.
that's the sad part. That's the breaking
So
part.
that's what I immediately was like.
Because afterwards she's
Because
like,
of you, because
nobody's
He's
gonna
fine.
care
I
about.
get it, exactly. That's the why I loved it. I was just like, no way.
It's troubling, but yeah, no.
Such a
I
tough.
think that's a good point. Like, she immediately reverts to, I'm fucked.
Yeah,
Hey!
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, that's a
dude.
good point.
That's
That's a
No,
good point.
yeah, and that kind of shows you, like more and more as the film goes on and more of her
Yeah.
actions, it changes from at the beginning. Wait, I have a savant here. Like I need to
Right.
nurture that to like, no, this is going to spark me up as an artist again. To like, no, if this gets out, it's gonna be
Sure.
bad for everybody and nobody cares or understands except me. And then it turned into that whole, you're gonna be washed up like me, but I'll get you ice cream.
Look,
just
don't get me wrong. I'm grateful that the film didn't turn into a basic, Freedom Riders,
Exactly.
like a Disney.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, because I
Yeah.
mean, like, let's say, like, acting, with all the different fronts that are there, I think there's like, some holes that might be in the script and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Performance-wise, do you feel like for the subject matter she was giving enough? Was she not giving
Pretty solid.
enough? Like,
Yeah, pretty solid.
She.
The kid, obviously, I
Maggie.
know it's a kid, but obviously the kid was just like,
static.
yeah.
Like you were like,
You can
Do
feel like
more.
somebody just say this and say,
The
kind
thing
of.
about her is she finds herself in these types of roles.
Maggie?
She's always. I mean, I haven't seen her in
Yeah,
anything.
me neither.
When I do see her in stuff, it's usually this, like, everyday characters that she can kind of.
She definitely
off, dude.
executes the whole.
She's not her brother. Her brother is Big
No,
Bang,
no, yeah, yeah.
Nightcrawler. I'm gonna, but she's more subtle in her like approach, and maybe
Exactly, a little bit
that's
more-
a better actor.
Little mystery to her performance towards the end, where
Yeah.
it's like, what is her
No,
intentions? What is her intentions? Like,
I think like with a
she
lot of
seems
other films on people over obsessing about things, it's a lot more dramatic, and with this one, it was really interesting how
But
subtle
she
it
needs
was.
that push because
Yeah.
she's never been nominated for an Oscar. She's been
like when
nominated
we were
for
talking
an
about the
Emmy.
first time I take it to the restroom, it's like, oh, that's
Golden
risky
Globes.
nowadays. But no, she's sitting down, he's on top.
No, and then like even when she deals with people that if they found out they would call her crazy, then she just
obviously.
she's
No,
just
but
very
that's
like
not
you know.
the teacher,
anything,
I was
but
like-
I felt like I saw more of the raw character vibes from her, where when she was like, for instance, when her and her husband are getting intimate,
Yeah.
and she just or like when she gets home from the poetry slam, and she's like high on life, man, because she knows this is like, I know my biggest peer just like killed me in my artistic life, but the kid is doing something special, and she comes home like wanting to have sex, dude. Like she takes off her clothes, gets in bed with her husband,
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
I mean,
It's one of those
you
things
haven't been
where,
to a
like,
poetry slam, so you wouldn't.
Oh, that's what it is. Like,
Yeah, nah, the energy's there. Scuba dabba doo, and then everybody's just tearing up.
you gotta connect yourself to the streets, man. That's the thing about
Aw.
it. You just have to. But I don't know. I think like a sexual component with a character like that is what you really have to pay attention to.
Ooh,
What's turning her on?
ooh.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because when the husband is casually trying to have sex with her, she gets a phone call and
Yeah,
right. But when she's high on herself, she wants to.
That's
Well,
true.
also, there was a lot of like mildly like sexual components. Is that kind of
Right.
like built around a lot of like her dressing and
But not necessarily
yeah.
in the kid. Just
Yeah, but I mean, do you
I
think?
thought in the costume design, her brassieres.
Oh, yeah.
They were always see through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but
it
do you
was-
think a lot of that like
Yeah.
adds
I was
tension
getting
to the film? Like, do you think that subtly adds tension? Because
I
that,
think it's just a layer.
yeah.
I think it's just a layer of
It
character.
makes you.
Maybe
no,
it does,
because
but
I was always thinking like, is something really twisted going to happen where then she starts getting attracted to the kid in a
That's
in a
what- that's what my
pedophilic
mind was
way?
going. My mind was
that's
like-
what it was trying to do.
That's what I was trying to think ahead. I was like, whoa, is he going to take it this
No,
direction?
and
That's the
then-
point.
and then
That's what it was
also-
trying to- it's kind of like what they did that you and I got annoyed in the little
even
things.
towards the end.
In the little
Yeah.
things, that like they're trying to set it up to Leo to.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not the case. It's
Exactly.
not gonna, so that's what they were trying to do for the audience.
Which-
But I don't. But
Entertainment.
I don't think they were trying to do that. I'm
not in a gimmicky way.
No, I
just,
was gonna
like-
say maybe to give them more credit.
Yeah.
Were they setting that up for the audience not as a like aware thing, but as a very much like then when there's that whole scene where it's like, okay, we're back from the lake, you feel this like weight of
Yeah.
like, oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
like
No, for
like
sure.
because it was more than just kidnapping. It's like,
But that's
oh,
my point.
go
How do
take a
you-
shower,
like-
and then he
like-
comes back in a towel, and then it's like, I'm gonna go
that's
take a
what I
shower,
was feeling.
and you're
That's
just like
my
feeling
point.
like,
maybe
ah.
that was the whole
I don't know if that's what you're feeling.
tonality of the film, right? But how do you make a almost 2 hour film that's nothing but dialogue and people talking in rooms? How
Yeah.
do you make it interesting? How do you make it suspenseful? So I don't think it's gimmicky. But I do think it's like, well, if we make it like they're gonna do something, then that's just entertainment for the audience. I don't know that that's setting up a.
I think
Okay,
it's setting
so-
up tonality. It's setting up
So-
tone for
a
the
tone,
film.
yeah. That,
Closing thoughts. What did you think that the film could have benefited from, and where do you feel like the film stood perfectly on?
Ah,
man. You know what? I want to hear your part first.
me, I should probably go last. You want me to go first?
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go first. Yeah.
Go.
Okay, well, if you go first, then I'll go first.
So you want me to go first? Okay.
No, we can both
with
go
the,
first.
With the film would benefit.
Okay, we'll say the same words at the same time.
Okay, ready?
No, okay. Where I thought that the film did really well on is that through, I think, a lot of the subconscious like elements that are there,
sure.
the subject matter at hand, it was able to create a good weight.
To piggyback off your comment,
Yeah.
do you think that's because, what if the filmmaker, if they were trying to do that, they were trying to do that, but is that just how we think as a society? Like, as the audience, is it because we're interpreting like, oh no, they're
No,
there
but
by themselves? We should,
regardless of whether it's the directing style or if it's as a society thing, the fact that you can play with it enough that at the
Exactly.
end, the end product is that I think we all felt a weight of kind of like
either
Either it was
yeah,
there,
of like
it was
I'm
there.
worried about the kid
Yeah,
and all that
yeah.
kind of stuff. However you felt, I think that they did that really well through the subconscious elements, maybe through the visual tonality.
Yeah.
There were areas I felt that they could have been a little bit more intentional on.
Sure.
That they definitely I almost wish I could hear from the cinematographer because it felt like a
Yeah.
lot of what the images were trying to do were being very poetic.
Sure.
Like the film.
I think it's an indie style thing.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
an indie style thing, but I didn't feel like there was enough intentionality where then it's like, whoa, that you're really pushing the limit of the visual styling, you know?
Right.
Because what you want to do with films is you want to say, like, this can't be done as a book, it can't be done as a play, it can only be
Right,
done through
right.
this medium. And I think if they had a little bit more intentionality, or if I could rewatch it and maybe see what their intentionality was,
No, you're right.
I think it could have gone
it could have
higher.
been.
But
This film could have been a play.
that's my final
could have
thought.
been-
So,
Yeah.
Carlos?
Well, let me say, because I know you're gonna go for about. Just like
These are closing thoughts, Carlos.
no,
closing thoughts.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the law. I think the whole relationship with the kid kept me kind of like in the mystery of it. Like,
Sure.
wait, which way is it gonna go? That's how my mind works, right? I thought like at first she was writing it for him just so she
Right.
should get credit at least by the
So
kid.
and it impressed you a little more. Like it didn't, what you wanted to happen didn't happen, but with a good reason. Like,
No, for sure.
it
The
took
ending
it-
really got me. Like I don't know if anybody would have guessed that he was gonna call the cops. I was thinking he was gonna open the door. He's a kid.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
That's the whole thing what you're
scene
talking about.
was just, yeah.
It was so weird about that scene, and then she calls the cops, and then I didn't see the whole part of, she turns them in like, hey, we'll go get ice cream right now.
Yeah,
The whole thing she was
watch it,
playing.
it's her kind of like saying, we'll get ice cream, and then by the cops saying the same thing, it feels like, wow, nobody cares. And then that last line, like, I have a poem, nobody actually does care about the kid, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Go for it.
But nothing bad.
Like, what could have changed?
I wouldn't say bad. Obviously, me, I wanted like from the get go.
More nudity.
It was kind of like nah. I gotta see a side boob. It's good enough for me.
Oh, God.
Jeez, I could work with less. All right. Just like
Jesus.
no. I guess the whole just me being an actor. I guess from the beginning could have been a little bit more, but I get the whole subtlety until it kind of. But nah, that's about it. That's why I gave it an 8.5, where it was just kind of like
Okay.
more dialogue
And
than more.
Carlos,
showing.
you can either start with what worked for the film or what do you think it could have used?
So I don't go home crying. You're limited to 2 words.
No,
Better
I think,
film.
I think it had a lot going for it. I really do think it had a lot going for it. I guess I'll start with the bad. I just feel like I wanted there to be more intention, and I wanted there to be more intentional conflict, so that I know her character, and what she wants and what she like.
Nah.
Otherwise, I connect divisively with her, and maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what the intention of the filmmaker is to not fully go one side or the other. But I'm not rooting for anybody in this film other than the kid, and even with the kid,
Towards the end.
I'm not even rooting for him as I fell in love with this kid character, because I really didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't fall in love with any of the characters.
I can see what you're saying with
You
that.
know what I mean? Like, I felt like if there was more intention there, then I would have appreciated that a little more. But it has a lot going for it in a good way. Yeah, it worked for what it was going for. I think the suspense and the emotional suspense of where are they going with this, was always there, which is totally fine. I think as an indie, it sits well as a very good indie. I mean, don't get me wrong; it had a budget. They had things to work. They had actors and they had everything to work with.
I'll say this to kind of close off. It was really impressive what they were able to do with the elements that they had.
Yeah.
And I definitely would recommend it. I think it'd definitely be like a watch that it went super under the radar because again, I think it was a good Oscar year and we've been having a few of those. But
recommend it if you have the heart for it, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
here's the last thing I'll say. What breaks my heart the most about this film isn't, yes, it's the fact that he's just a regular kid, but the fact that this savant will now be lost in the ether.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, maybe not. Maybe he keeps pursuing poetry.
You said people don't remember stuff from
I think he's going to get lost in the ether, and what a shame. Like, not even for his own life. Like,
I feel you.
He's going to get lost in the ether. That's the biggest heartbreak and the biggest moment I took from it. I do recommend it. I think you should watch it. I think as an indie film, you get to know what to do with so many elements. And it's an hour and 38 minutes.
Yeah.
Pretty easy watch. It's pacing. It's a really easy watch.
I'm pretty sensitive. Just if you have a strong heart for that type of movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sensitive, and that really did get to me. Like,
Austin, what about you? Like your final thoughts about this movie? Like, what? I'm interested to know where does it fall in your top 10? Because you said it falls on your top 10.
I think in the latter half, like 5 to 10.
Okay. What about?
I gotta ask what was it about the film that
it's the storyline of like what the kid goes through.
The
and
kid.
The way she kind of low key manipulates him.
Mm.
Yeah.
You think he manipulated him?
No, yeah, she definitely manipulates him. That's the whole thing.
I find it like it's just her helping him out.
There you have it.
Half of it is.
We can keep arguing, but I loved it.
More on this at 10.
No, yeah, definitely check out The Kindergarten Teacher. Again, for an indie film and for a relatively new director. The sad part is I didn't really see this director do anything else after that. It's been 3 years, so I don't know what they're working on now. I think they went into TV. Something. I know that the DP is doing stuff for True Detective and stuff like that. So they went into
bringing it back.
Yeah. So I know the DP started doing more TV stuff, but I don't know what the director's up to. But she's good, and I think
strong narrative piece.
She should keep doing films. I think we can
more
reveal.
On this at 10.
I think we can reveal what we're doing next. Your pick, right?
Yeah.
Next. So next we're doing Spike Jonze is Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix. It's one of my favorite films. It's a terrific picture.
Did we ever review Where the Wild Things Are?
No, we just watched it.
Ah, okay. I was gonna say it's the second Spike Jonze film, but
right. Spike Jonze is interesting.
Yeah. More on this.
Her is the best thing he has going for him.
Next
but
week.
We'll see. Yeah, next week.
When we review Her,
yeah.
which will be my pick.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
After that, I don't know if it goes back to you guys or to me, but it goes back to me. So
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But anyways,
we're back in
make
person.
Make sure to check out the next episode. If you have any comments about The Kindergarten Teacher, check it out. Let us know what you think. Make sure to check us out on Anchor and submit questions either through social media or through Anchor. We'd love to hear your guys' voice on these types of films. So,
what do you think of our new setup?
Yeah.
Do we sound good? Do we look good?
Yeah.
Let us all know.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the newest episode of the WatchTower podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Love you guys.
Take care.